Hello, folks. Testing is what we're doing. I just want to see how this is actually working or not. I haven't been on in a while. I hope you guys are doing great. And I know the coronavirus has been keeping us home more often than not. And so I just wish you guys all the best in that situation. I find myself there too. And so right now, I'm just right now looking into the various, there we go, streams, seeing what's on here. I could see YouTube is on. And am I on with Facebook at all? I don't see Facebook there. I could see my, I wonder if I can add my Facebook in, because I should be able to put adding one more than one channel from a platform is a paid feature. Oh, okay, there it is. Yeah, I'm on with Facebook. So I hope you guys are great. And what I'm going to be doing is, and I'm actually aboard FromHappyForceOne right now, I'm going to be coming back on more often, and I'm going to be doing things just a tad bit differently. The presidential run is still strong in a part of my life, but so are some other things. I plan on doing a lot with the conversion. I think that's very interesting to people, talking about the off-grid aspects to FromHappyForceOne. One of the things that I wanted to do in the change from 1605 West Grand Street, which is I'm right now playing with my drones as well, getting them working, is I wanted the ability to live my life not much different than it was when I was at 1605 West Grant Street. I wanted to be able to fly my drones, be comfortable, feel like I'm in a very strong structure. I didn't want to feel like I was in some flimsy structure. I wanted to be safe. See, like if you look outside this window right here, you could see, and this is kind of going to be how it is all the time with me, you'll be able to see where I'm at. And so just be on the like the American just be on the American map here, which I love. That's really cool. I got to change the batteries so that we can get the lights around there to light up better. But once, you know, let's say I'm in a mountainous region area, you'll be able to see out that really well, and it's so beautiful. And during the right time of day, I mean, it's gorgeous, and you'll be able to see in the various places that I end up. So that's my dream for, like, I mean, I'm really excited about that. I want to be able to go around the country and meet people and have new experiences and share a lot of what I've learned. Like, that's what I believe life is about, sharing so much. So how are you guys doing? I hope you're well. I'm going to be talking about the off-grid solar system. I have 6 panels on top, which each one is 335 watts of power. That's awesome stuff. And the ability to keep going without having to worry about plugging in somewhere is an amazing feeling. Right now I have the actual, I have FromHappyForceOne, which is the charter bus. It's a Series 60 Detroit diesel engine. My goodness, this thing is powerful. This is the same engine that sends 18-wheelers with their full load, 80,000 pounds up mountains. So I have a very strong and capable engine aboard this rig. And I also have another engine aboard this rig. It's the engine that's attached to the generator, and that's a very powerful engine as well. That's a diesel engine. They usually put those in big trucks. It's a 4-cylinder diesel engine. It produces up to 20,000 watts of power. Now the way it's configured now is it produces about 16.9k watts, and that's a lot of power. And so right now I got to change a couple of things on the generator. So what I do is I shut it off, and I have, in the way I built this system, I actually have cables. Now they're very large, because if you learn anything about electricity and DC electricity, if you don't have large enough cables when you're making a run from something like so powerful like this bus, I mean, this thing is producing, I kid you not, around 7,000 watts of power. Think about that. Just naturally, that's how much the bus produces. So I want to capture that power. And so what I do is I connect into the bus's alternators. It's got two of them, not just one, two big alternators. And you run the wires all the way back to the main power wall, where I have the huge 800-pound lithium batteries. Yeah, I'm going to share all this stuff with you guys. It's really fascinating. And it powers them up. And then, you know, so right now I have the bus on, right? Every hour that it's going, it's powering things up, keeping it going. In fact, you can see right here, I have the remote with me. It's at 9% charge. That 9% represents a good 100 or so amp hours. And this is the in and out amp hours right here. You can see it's negative 736 amp hours. That's because I can put another 736 amp hours into this battery, because it's a very huge battery. And because it is 24 volt, then you could do the math. 24 volt times that much amps. And I assure you, you'll see it's a ton of power. So we can put on tap here close to about, I would say 17,000 watts. So you're only using, I mean, good golly, you can have an air conditioner on, you can have a lot of stuff on, you can have a TV on, all your different various items you use in a real home situation. This is not aching for power. It's not like small power. You can have all that stuff on and maybe be using 2,000 watts per hour. And that's how it works. Everything is based on an hour. So how much energy do you use in an hour? That's how it's based. And when you look at it like that, 2,000 watts, well, how far can you go having comfortable living before your battery runs out? Because that's the big question for people off grid. And there's other variables in there. How many sun panels and all this do you have? Like the 6 panels that I have at 335 watts each is close to about 2,000 watts of power from the sun every hour. And so each day there's variations, and it's bringing in about 10 to 11,000 watts of power a day. So alone, it's not even enough to fill up all the battery. That's how much battery power this coach has. And that's what this is. This is not considered an RV. It's considered a motor coach. Just like when you have a Greyhound bus, or you've seen with all the different passenger seats on board, it's really huge. You know, like where I'm at right now, it's like I'm on the second floor. I'm on like the second story. Underneath the bus, it's got huge storage bins. And when configured as a house like this one is, it's considered your garage bay, or like your, that's more or less what they call it, like your storage base. And so you end up having a ton of storage. Now what I use it for is because I have 5 huge storage areas underneath there. They're like storage bays. They have doors. They open up. They're huge. And in one of them is the complete air conditioning system that's attached to the bus. I mean, this thing is like 60,000 BTU. It pumps out an immense amount of air conditioning. When that system is on, all other systems can be shut off. Now, in this coach, there are currently 5 air conditioning systems. And so it's split up. If I'm in one area of the coach, I can activate just one area of the air conditioning. That was very important, because otherwise you're going to use so much electricity that you're going to run through it faster, and it doesn't make sense. Now, let's say if I had several more people with me, because I'm alone right now on FromHappyForceOne. But let's say I had several more people with me. Then I could easily power up the air conditioning on the other sides or whatever, and it would be more comfortable for more people. And that makes sense to do it that way because, of course, then you go through more electricity, but that's just the way a house works. Now, in this FromHappyForceOne, one of the things that was so important to me was the ability to live like when I was at home. You know, I have my vacuum cleaner. I want to plug it in, use it. My coffee maker. I want to use my microwave. I want to use my oven. I want to use all the different little things I have. I want my air conditioner to be able to be used. There's several of them if I need them. I want my refrigerator or my computer. Back home I used to keep the computer on 24/7. When I was inspired, immediately I go and, use the computer. And I could do the same thing right here. That's really, really important when you're going off grid, that you do as much as you can to keep your life to a degree happy, so that you're not like missing being on grid. And one of the things that I was going to say too is, with all the solar power that's on top of this bus, it's got, like I said, 2,000 watts, and it's producing around 10 to 11,000 watts per day. That's enough right there alone to cover all of the electricity I would use, minus the air conditioners, and it would still be enough. It would be more than enough. It would be enough for me and enough to share electricity. Let's say if I had somebody else out here that was staying in a tent or something and they needed some electricity, I could pass them a line. Or I could, let's say if somebody else's RV has broken down their electricity, they have no way of powering up, I can literally plug them in and they can power their RV up. And the reason is because this is connected to 8,000 watts. I have 2 Magnum inverters, and each one is 4,000 watts, and they're not just inverters, they're inverter chargers. So when it's plugged up to, like, say for example, the generator, that's how it's able to bring in such massive amounts of power. Each one of those bring in 110 amps at 24 volts charge wise. And if you do the math on that, you're getting close to about 6,200 watts of power off of the generator. And then what the generator does is it's actually very powerful in the way it charges, because the generator will actually do a throughput for the electricity. It doesn't just give the electricity DC energy and then the batteries are trying to fill up on that DC energy, but every time you turn like an air conditioner on or the lights or the computer, that it takes away from that DC energy, because that's what happens when you're charging up from the bus directly. Makes sense, right? And when you're charging up from the generator, what happens is you have the DC energy going into the inverter turning that into AC energy for use around the coach. That's what it's used to doing, alternating energy, alternating current. But when the generator's working, what happens is it sends its own AC energy, and the throughput allows that energy to light up the coach, and that the charge units on those are not affected. So you'll get the full complete 210, usually it's about 210 to 220 amps of power all the way through. You're not affected no matter what you turn on. I could turn on all the air conditioning, and through that generator, it's still producing, it's still charging the batteries at 210 to 220 amps no matter what else I do. And so that's great, because that's why it has to be a very powerful generator, because besides the 62 or 6,700 watts, it varies in what it's throwing into the batteries. It also has to throw another, if I'm running all the air conditioning, if I'm running everything, like another 6,000 watts into the system. And, it could be quite extensive, and that's capable of doing that. It's a very strong generator. And so that's why I chose that. And also I chose it because HappyForceOne is, for me, it's not just my home and a place to live and a place to get things done, but it's also somewhere where I can grow. I can be creative, and it grows with me. Like, I wanted it to be super capable because of that. It had to have the ability to run all of these different things and be able to stay on and stay consistent. Otherwise, I wouldn't feel comfortable coming out of my home. I wouldn't be able to grow in the ways that I intend to grow, making all the art, running the campaign, meeting new people, for example. And I'll probably be able to take on some people at some point, because this is really fun when you get going. And the way I'm building this is I'm doing it in sections, and I could see best what I like and how I like things. For example, you see how my studio office has come together, and it's really nice for me. So anyways, I just want to see how well this works. I haven't been on in a while, to be honest, so I wanted to just kind of pop in for that. I hope you guys are doing great through the crisis that we're all experiencing. It's really, something different that none of us has ever really experienced before, and I know that there's a lot of contention about it. I say just calm down. Every moment that we have with each other is a great moment. Imagine the kinds of things that really can happen or what could have happened. Let's count our blessings. Let's not be the kind of people that can avert a disaster and then start pointing fingers and creating hell because we averted it and pretend that, there was never a threat. That's not fair, because then that means we can never avert a disaster, and if we did, that you would have never known, and therefore there's all this room for criticism. It's fake BS. We need to be focused on what's best for human beings. Human beings matter. They have purpose and value, and when you start attacking that and you start breaking that down, then you are breaking down your own life, your own future, the possibilities for all of us. That's very important. We have to drive into this next, I'm telling you, year with vigor. We have to be able to build our own lives up if we expect anything to get better. We have to. That's why I'm doing it like this. That's why this is a teaching rig. I'm going to be showing so much about what I've done. And yeah, I know a lot about this stuff. I'm comfortable with buses. I know them very well. And like this charter bus, for example, it has 6 wheels on it, huge, like tractor trailer wheels, and they've got a dually in the back with it's also got tag axle wheels. It's all air brakes and air systems, so it's very comfortable. Levels itself out. The steer wheels are the same way. It's also got airbags in there, levels itself out. And so the coach is actually built in Canada. It's a Prevos. You know of a Prevo, right? Prevos are the best. They're the top of the line. So the walls on this thing are very thick, and the roof on this is very thick, and so the insulation is very thick. These glasses right here, you can't hear things that are happening on the outside. It's a lot like being in a home. For example, when there's in an RV, when it's raining, you hear everything. You hear the rain beating against the top of your RV and the sides of your RV. You can't get comfortable if there's a storm. In this, if I have the windows covered and I'm just chilling watching some TV, I might step outside and it looks like hell out there, and I had no idea because of how comfortable it is, how nice that it's been set up. And right now I'm actually setting up the walls, making them out of actual insulation. The walls themselves are insulation. And the reason why I'm doing it like that is because it holds air back so that I could separate different sections within the coach. Remember, all the seats were removed out. And it allows me to see where I like the walls before I actually build them more permanently. And so if I want to change something around, I can do that. It's a very practical way to approach this. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing things practically. I've been very busy. I don't just sit around doing nothing. Also, I do a lot of writing. I learn a lot. Sometimes I'm quiet. And because the thing about it is people are always running their mouths. They always think they know what's going on. But sometimes you got to just kind of take a step back, and just listen and see what people are saying. See what you can learn and see the greater picture. We live in the energies, and I'm always focused on that because you could see so much when you learn how to read what's happening around you in the energies, not just what you see. The energies, they mean so much. I mean, imagine the different things that you've witnessed, the big things, and how just the smallest amounts of it could have went this way or it could have went that way. Someone had a good day or a bad day. The energy of the situation completely dictates what happens at that very moment, and then it's concrete, and it stays like that and defines the situation, defines how people react and see things based on what had just happened. And this is true in all of our lives. So the energies are really there, and people ignore that. They ignore that the energies are in work. They're always working. And so I said, all I am is a sweetheart. That's all I ever want to be. I want to love. I want to love hard. I want to meet great people. That's what we're here for. People are embarrassed to say that. I don't get it. And that's your role in this life. This role is to love and to meet new people and to do things differently and to learn and to expand your knowledge. And so plan on a lot of that. That's going to be a big point of the programs. That's how it's always been, except for that I ended up taking some time off when I had first bought the bus to do a lot of the conversion, which I did a lot. Think about it. I put a complete electrical system in here that makes everything comfortable. I mean, what's the thing in your home that makes things most comfortable, really? It's those electrons, baby. We love electrons. It powers our lives. And the fact is, what you need most in any living arrangement, when you walk into an apartment, you have 4 walls, you have the ceiling, you have the floor, and you have in the wall plugs. That's all you need. You know, when they build these RVs, they want to put your furniture all set up in there. They want to put everything in there. By the time you're done, you don't get to do any of the, kinds of things you do in an apartment where, I want to put my own stuff here or there. They pre-do all that stuff. It's like fabricated very cheaply, and it's built into the RVs and some of the even higher model coaches. In this build, I wanted to do differently. I wanted to do it more like very powerful, like you would have in a home, and that you would have available plugs, and that you would have systems and ways to keep things safe and hold things down, so you'd have anchors and stuff like that, but that otherwise you would get the feel of a home. And that's so important, the feel of a home, and that you can place things where you need them, and that it's your taste, and that it's your design, and that you can change things next week even if you wanted to, that you have flexibility in your design. That's the way I felt most comfortable in my home. And also that again, growing. I need the most possibilities. I do film, I do all kinds of stuff, very creative. And so there's times you may want to change something, move things around. For example, I was thinking about putting a conference room in the front of the coach, and then the very next room after that, my office, and then the very next room after that, my living quarters, and then the very next room, like with the living room and different things like that, and the kitchen, and of course, and then after that would be my bedroom and various things. Now think about it. I'm capable of doing that and switching things around quite easily, because we're still in that phase of building the coach out, but yet I'm still living perfectly comfortably because I have the electricity. That's the biggest thing in any situation. You need good electricity, so the power wall is really important to having a successful off-grid experience. Everything else is just talk. It's just I don't even understand. I guess it's comfort stuff. For me to be comfortable, what I need most are solid walls, like I said, a solid standing, a solid vehicle, a solid center, and from that I could build out. All right, guys, I'll be back on again. This is again just to see how the system is working. I haven't put on in a bit, and to make sure that it is working, because they had my restream off, and if I had to, I was just going to go on YouTube only, and that would be the end of it, and or Facebook or whatever, just as single different places. But right now I'm on Twitch, 2 YouTube channels, Periscope, Facebook, and Periscope is like being on Twitter. So I just want to say God bless you guys, and I'll talk to you soon. Much love.